Who's ready for some soul level Akashic Records guidance around love and relationship? If you're new to this channel, my name is Anika Ray. I am a spiritual intuitive who specializes in soul level guidance. One of these soul level guidance resources is the Akashic Records. If you're not familiar with the Akashic Records, they are this giant library of the soul. They're an energetic library. They contain the history of every soul and their journey. And we are going to be exploring the guidance that is around love and relationships. I think this is an important topic for a lot of us on this planet. Some of us have a lot of soul lessons around that, myself included. And so I really wanted to share this with you, this experience with you. And I'm already full transparency in the Akashic Records, in my own Akashic Records. But since we are related on a soul level and in consciousness, this should resonate with you, and just take whatever it does, whatever it doesn't, just leave the rest, right? And this is, again, spiritual soul level guidance. So it is not psychic, it's not mediumship, it's not intuitive. It is very much about spirituality, how to navigate this, and it's going to be driven by questions. Although we are going to start with just some general message from the records, since that is how I read my own records and for others. And the first thing that I'm getting collectively is that there's a lot of compassion and understanding from the guides in the records about this whole aspect of specifically romantic relationships. Now, relationships can be anything, as we know, right? It's not only romantic relationships, but we are really talking about romantic relationships. And part of it is this human perception that may very much differ from the spiritual perception. And I want to give you more around that from the records perspective, right? There are connections on a soul level that are spiritual in nature. That doesn't mean they're going to manifest in each lifetime as romantic relationships, but sometimes it is necessary and good to see this dynamic between the souls in a personal romantic relationship. In this relationship series, we are going to go deeper with this, and this is only part one, guys, so I'm not going to go into the soulmate, twin flame karmic relationships here. I hate to disappoint you. We're not going to open with that, but we are going to address this. However, this is coming from the records, right, that the spiritual connection, soul connection can be manifested in a romantic way. Some people share multiple lifetimes together in a romantic way, but the lessons are different, or could be different, or even manifested differently. And also to take into consideration that the lifetimes were different, right? Like when we talk about past lives, a lot of times we're fascinated by them, but at the same time, there were hardships. You know, not that long ago, choosing a woman's body or even man's, there were arranged marriages, right? And still that goes on in different cultures. There were restrictions. People were falling in love outside of marriage, which was very much sort of, even in today's, right, it's having affairs, right? Like there were different ways this would manifest. There were marriages without love. So this is, you know, a very unique, the records are saying, way to approach this. If you approach this with really understanding that, right, on a spiritual level, there are these agreements that are, and again, I don't want to go too far with the soul contracts and anything, but I just want to say there are ways that it suits both people to be in romantic relationships, and how that plays out in a human way. It's not always going to be, right, this romantic, you know, what we call the Jane Austen, Bridgerton kind of type of relationships where everything is beautiful and romantic. Even though I think Bridgerton shows us some challenges there, it's more realistic. But just so that you know, right, take a look at the relationships that you're even attracting as opportunities to understand them both spiritually and then on a human level, and then connect the two, which can be very empowering and helpful. So On that note, why don't we just jump into the questions? The part one of this series that I'm doing is going to be really more general. And then as we go through February, we have equal number of weeks. So we're going to tackle 4 parts and they're going to be all different. These questions are inspired by my clients' questions, my own questions, and hopefully your own. So if you can relate, let's go with it. The first question is, and just so you know, the records work best with questions. So if you want to explore this yourself, you can create your own questions. And if you know how to do and access the records, if you don't, I will leave the links in the description for my own classes if you're drawn to my energy and vibration. Okay, so first question is, what message does my soul need to hear about love and relationship right now? Now listen, this is a general reading, so we're going to ask for a general message here. So it may or may not relate to you. So the first thing that I'm hearing is, again, reiterating that for you that are on a spiritual path, and I'm assuming you are spiritually awakened or you feel like it, meaning you love spiritual guidance. And so there is an aspect of spiritual relationship, and then there is an aspect of human relationship, meaning to acknowledge both sides, right? There is this connection on a spiritual level, and that includes your spiritual lessons, your energy exchange between two people, and also not to tie yourself to the concept of the one. I know this has been portrayed in many, many ways through romance throughout centuries. The one is for you. For some people, it is not the one. It is about different souls with whom they have connections throughout their lifetime. And that explains people getting married and divorced, right? This is acceptable now. It's not taboo, even though in some countries it's still not, in some religious ways it's still not. But just so that we are aware of this concept, the one is not always helpful to the human self. So they want you to open up the viewpoint of the person that I'm drawing into my reality, the soul that is aligned with me at this point in my life, right? Where I'm at in my life. And if this person happens to be growing with you and sharing a lifetime of happiness, and you're growing together, and this is a 30, a 40, a 50-year relationship, amazing. But if it's not, the records don't want you to judge yourself or feel bad or feel like you missed out on the one, right? It's not the one. It's another one, right? Another soul with whom I can have beautiful relationship. This is for those that have lost people, literally physically. This is for those of you that have divorced and still having a hard time getting over a divorce. This is for those of you that come across beloved here. So a person that they feel amazing about, but that person is not available to them because they're married already. Don't feel right like that this is right, it's like the end of the world, which I know it can be hard, and you may feel on the human level really right, like difficult, and it's emotionally taxing. So open your heart to another soul that you can have a beautiful, wonderful human and spiritual relationship with. So this is the message you needed to hear as a soul and as a human. Second question is, what is the best way I can approach love and relationship? Ooh, this is a juicy one, right? The first thing I'm getting from the records is with open mind and open heart. Some of us want to romanticize relationships, but there is a practical element to this. And so, for a lot of women, this is about romance. But the records are also bringing that this is spiritual, right? It could be that spiritual connection you feel energetically, vibrationally, familiarity. Also that there is this practical aspect. So not to forget it. It's got to work in real life. And that brings us to that question of the importance of coherence between people, but also alignment, right? Where it's got to work, right? And it's not about perfection, But it's got to work, on a human level. So the records are like, yeah, allow yourself to dream or be included in romance. It is a part of the relationship. It's a part of the dynamic. It's a beauty of love and relationship. It is an initiator. It is also biological. It is chemical. So chemistry is lovely. But does it work in practical ways? I had to learn that lesson myself because I have been seduced by chemistry. And I'm not trying to make light of this because it can be damaging as well. So what the records are really saying, not out of fear, but out of love, pay attention to the red flags. Approach love with open heart and open mind. Approach it as a spiritual aspect. I feel coherence. I feel vibrationally drawn to this person. I feel enamored. I feel the limerence, the lust. It's okay. But does it work for me on a practical level as a human? Do I have to travel 2 states over to see this person? And then we get to this idea of suffering, which, oh my God, they are my soulmate, my twin flame. I should make everything happen for them. But the records are really bringing us into the grounded state and boundaries and asking yourself, does this really work for me as a human? Is it possible? Can we both work on that to make it happen? Or is this a one-sided relationship? And to really be in that space of neutrality. I hope this helps you. A very powerful message. Number 3 is, how do I become more open to love? Some of us are in hermit mode. I have been there. I've been single, just full transparency, a little bit about myself. I don't mind sharing this. I've needed the space and time for myself. I've been single for several years now, and I'm in my 40s, guys. So it is not a fun thing dating out there in your 40s. But you know what? I'm so grateful for this time and space that I've taken for myself to heal, to grow. I needed that both spiritually and personally. I've gone through some dark night of the soul prior to that. Grateful for all of those relationships, but this is what the records are really saying is being open to love means being open to self. And that's how to approach this. And I want to dig a little deeper here so that we have more clarity. It is about being open to possibilities and sort of being open to how you show up in relationships, which is kind of tying to the next question. But, there is this openness, almost innocence, where you can be in the space of vulnerability. So if you can approach love and relationships with openness, okay, again, open mind, open heart, curiosity of the mind, openness and vulnerability of the heart, the spiritually understanding where you have still space and room to grow. So not opening to love with perfection, but the eyes of the neutrality. Like, what is possible for me in this relationship? How can I really fulfill my potential? What am I learning? So with a lot of grace, gratitude, patience towards yourself and towards that other person, not to judge other people for where they have been, also not to judge yourself, because then you limit the number of possibilities for self. They do want you to really embrace the conscious choice and remove yourself from this opinion of the one. A lot of you have this limited belief, again, of I must find the one. But the only way to find the right one for you is actually to put yourself out there emotionally, physically, to really embrace the process in a human sense, in a spiritual sense. Don't worry about protection. You are protected and guided. If you need to call on your guides to be with you in this process, please do so. But just this open space, what is possible? Universe, what is possible? What is for my highest and best good? Okay, and the final question in this part 1 is, what is the healthiest way for me to show up in relationships? Wow, well, this seems like the question that we have all probably asked many times. Again, this grace and gratitude is being brought up to my attention yet again, So with a lot of patience, humility, groundedness, a lot of openness, the relationships in itself, each relationship would bring a specific dynamic, they say. So not every relationship is going to be the replica of the one before, unless you need it to be, meaning if you are replaying some karmic patterns, and if you're trying to break those patterns, that means you have to turn back to self and really look at what these patterns are teaching you, how they're supporting you. For example, if you are attracted emotionally unavailable people, that is teaching you something about self. That means you're either emotionally unavailable yourself, you're highly protective of yourself, or you're protective of getting hurt again. So again, this is the human way, showing up and spiritually also, without judgment, with grace, gratitude, humility, patience, openness. This is about you showing up for yourself in relationships as well. Do not forget to show up for yourself, to express your needs to another person, and to really take time to get to know someone in a human way, not to jump to conclusions, to pull your energy back, opposed to like expand your energy before you're ready. So yes, to like pay attention to self as you show up, right? Listen to your partner's needs, listen to your needs. This is a give and take. Each dynamic of the relationship will be different. In some relationships, you will be really like taking more of, or even throughout the life of relationships, the dynamics might change, where sometimes one person is leading and in a position more of a leadership, and then another person. I don't want you to take, and this is what's coming through the records, this divine feminine and masculine so literally. They're saying that is really affecting some of you. You're not to sit back and relax at all times in a relationship. Sometimes you take, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, it's a balanced approach. Sometimes you are the instigator and the creator and the passionate one, and sometimes you are the receiver. There has to be this coherent balance, but it's not taken literally where it's transactional. You give me this, I give you that. It's more like I am open to really creating a relationship that is helpful, supportive to both of us. So that's how you show up in a healthy way, in a spiritual way. They're sending you lots of love and light, and so am I. I'm going to leave it here because I wanted this to be straight to the point. If you enjoy this content and guidance from the Akashic Records, please love, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I post these videos every week pretty much. And we are going to dive deeper into these relationships. This is a series, so this is really only part 1. Part 2, 3, and 4 expected to be weekly for the entire month of February, because we are going to tap into that love and romance that Valentine's Day really happens to inspire in all of us. If you're interested in personal guidance, I do offer personal Akashic Records readings. The links are in the description. I am running a Valentine special as well, 2 souls, 2 readings, meaning it is meant to be for 2 people, but they have separate readings, could be good for couples and other types of relationships. But it's not a couples reading. So the records really are more about individual readings. Read about all of that in the description. I'm sending you lots of love and light. I'm wishing you an amazing, healthy, delicious, juicy relationships all around. And I hope that is in the cards for you, as they say. Let the universe and the Akashic Records support you in that manifestation, and hopefully that is something that is meant for you, as I know you deserve it. I will see you in the next video, my friend.